Hello, and welcome to this epic tale of a love triangle that will push a gondola and its passengers to their boundaries, testing the limits of love as we know it. Our tale begins in Venice, Italy, which came to be after the fall of the Roman Empire. People seeking refuge from the invasions fled to Venice, which eventually became populated enough to be a real city. Venice was later annexed by the Byzantine Empire, but managed to maintain its independence. What really put Venice on the map, however, was when two merchants stole the body of Mark the Apostle and brought it into Venice. The body of Mark the Apostle caused the creation of the famous Basilica of San Marco. The city is located on the northwestern end of the Adriatic Sea in an archipelago. Venice's unique geography allows for its denizens to travel by waterways on gondolas, such as this one.
I am the gondolier, needed because Venice is a bunch of tiny islands connected by waterways.
I am the husband, here on my honeymoon with my wife.
And I'm the wife. I dragged my husband here because I love Venice.
Now, if you look to your left, you will see Doge's Palace, built in the 6th century and rebuilt in 1172. It is a great example of Roman influence on Venetian architecture. Its arches and columns will be seen again soon on several other buildings here in Venice.
Wow, you sure do know a lot about this place. Foreign culture is so racy.
You think he knows a lot? He's such a pedante. I bet he doesn't even know that Orso was the first Venetian doge, or that Venice was a republic.
A republic based off of the Romans. Just like them, they have a senate based on the people, where everyone has some power in government. The Doge actually happens to have no real political power without the consensus of the people. The use of councils and the restriction of the Doges from trade help to prevent nepotism.
I am deeply sorry to interrupt, but we are coming upon St. Mark's Basilica, which was built in conjunction with Doge's Palace after the body of Mark the Apostle was stolen. It was officially started in 828 and finished in 832. As you can see, the large domes on top are also a characteristic of Roman architecture, such as the Pantheon. In fact, most Venetian artists travel to Rome to study their buildings. I have made the trip twice myself.
Well, aren't you just so fancy? But see, you forgot to mention that St. Mark is the patron saint of Venice. It was chosen to be so because Venice was rising to power at the time and needed a distinguishing factor. And that's why getting his bones was so important, and therefore the Venetians built the basilica.
Well, yes, he is pretty important. And I love how he's from Alexandria. All of the people in Venice are so diverse because of it being such a massive trading center. Pretty impressive for what once was, and still remains, a group of refugees. It's just so unique.
I do live here. But with all that info, maybe one day you will have a chance of being a gondolier like me.
Little did she know, that day was over 500,000 days away.
No, she won't be a gondolier, because women weren't gondoliers in the early ages of Venice, and we like to do things the old-fashioned way, like the Muslims, who would always trade in Venice, and our good old Ottoman trading buddies, keeping it real and honest.
Unlike those dirty Genoans, they and their disgusting salami can keep their trade to themselves. They can't be gondoliers if I had anything to say about it.
Well, then, I can see there's a little bit of tension there. Anyway, speaking of honest, is it true that most people in Venice are Catholic? I know how important the Pope is in Italy.
Ah, yes. The Pope is important to all of us. Why do you think there are 141 Catholic churches on just 118 islands?
Wow, that certainly is a lot. So, what kind of festivals and ceremonies are there in this fine city?
Well, there are many religious ceremonies at the Basilica, but my favorite is the Carnival of Venice.
Oh, yes, I've heard quite a bit about that. I would have loved to be here to wear all of those interesting masks and costumes. I wish I could have celebrated it with you. We would have loved to celebrate it with you on our honeymoon.
Ah, yes, it was quite a celebration. Any other questions?
Oh, one more. What is the language like around here?
Well, they spoke the Roman form of Latin that eventually transformed into the Italian dialect, and a few common words originated from our language, such as arsenal and lagoon.
I didn't know if I'd call those common words, but I love the way you say them. And did you always talk with your hands like all Italians do?
Why, of course. You can't beat a Venetian without proper hand gestures. You learn them in preschool.
Well, that certainly is an impressive array of cultural feats by Venice.
Yep. I do all those things, trust me. I'm a gondolier.
I see someone's trying to be quite the Casanova. To do all of that and to be a gondolier?
Actually, I happen to be a descendant of Giacomo Casanova. He was my great-great-great-grandfather.
Well then.
For reals, just let him do his job. Let the man be a gondolier. He'd probably build it anyways, since the Venetians are known for building boats. You just stick to the food and care of the house.
But just look at Lucretia Borgia. Her infamous acts shattered the notion of powerless women, and she killed and slandered her enemies.
She was also incestuous with her father.
Oh, stop it, you two.
I haven't the faintest idea what's wrong. But I do know that to your left is the Venetian arsenal. This 110-acre structure is cause for the Venetian naval might, and is the largest industrial power in the world. It took up to 15% of all of Venice's land. It was built in 1104 and had the ability to make a ship a day at max capacity. No one in all of Europe could match the naval power and maritime trade of Venice. This was extremely important because
Venetian trade with Egypt gave them pepper and really boosted their economy, much like their trade with Constantinople, which was beneficial as well. And then, once Constantinople fell to the Ottomans, they too became friends with the Venetians. And after time, the Venetians, being so good at sea travel, did actual trading on the seas, and the Ottomans would just collect the taxes, creating a mutual beneficial relationship. Plus, the Venetians also got grain from the Ottomans, which they desperately needed because they didn't really have much in Venice. And all of this trade would help lead to the Renaissance because a lot of money is needed to fund for all the art and stuff. And this trade made Venice very, very rich.
Wow, honey, I never knew you knew so much about this wonderful city.
I do what I do.
I'm no pushover either. I know that Venice became the European capital of printing and literature, and I also happen to know that Venice was renowned for its fine blown glass. My husband happened to enjoy blowing glass before we met, isn't that right?
Yeah, that was just a phase. I'd rather not discuss it. The Venetians can do the glass blowing from now on.
well, did you know that Venice is basically just a bunch of little islands? That's why it's so great for sea trade. It was basically made for sea travel. A really cool thing about Venice is that it's actually a lagoon. Isn't that awesome?
Wait, is that a script I see?
Uh, uh, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yes, it is. You liar. You dirty, dirty liar. You don't know any of this.
He's no better than the Genoans. Honey, let's get out of here.